What is up, Star Wars fans? I'm Star Wars Only, and today I'm going to tell you exactly why Disney has canceled Star Wars The Clone Wars, the series that came out on Cartoon Network. Now, I know they canceled it a couple years ago when Disney bought Lucasfilm. They basically immediately, maybe within a month, canceled the show Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, if you don't know, they canceled it when The Clone Wars was halfway through season 6, and so they allowed them to finish season 6 but put it on a Netflix kind of series thing, and then that was it. So that show's been canceled. It's never going to be aired again. It's never going to happen again, and that's just how it is. That's just the truth of it all. And a lot of fans are upset about it, and a lot of fans, kind of like me, weren't too happy when they heard the news because they really did enjoy the show. Now I've noticed that my YouTube video called "Why the Clone Wars is Better Than Rebels" has been booming. It's been doing a lot better than it ever has been in the past week than the entire, I don't even know how long that thing's been out. But that thing's getting a lot of attention, and someone asked me, well, why did it get canceled? I want you to make a video on why it got canceled. And this is proof that I listen to you people and that I make videos that y'all want to make and that will be interesting to make. So that's my goal today, is to tell you exactly why Disney canceled Star Wars The Clone Wars, basically right when they bought it, just right from the get-go. So this is nothing but honesty and facts here. I'm not trying to bash the Rebels. I'm not trying to bash the Clone Wars. I'm just telling you exactly why Disney did this. So I'm going to give you a couple reasons, and let's just go ahead and get started right on it. So the first major problem with even continuing the Clone Wars after Disney bought it was the kind of legal aspects of it. Now, I'm not a big business guy yet. I kind of do want to major in some kind of business field, maybe finance and whatnot, but that's beside the point. The legal terms of having the Clone Wars continue to run on Cartoon Network would be kind of complicated, because think of it like this. Lucasfilm wasn't really connected to anybody, so when came to Cartoon Network, they're like, hey, we'll pay you or you pay us, and we'll deal this thing and make money off this good show. Well, that's all fine and dandy, and it worked really well, apparently. But when Disney comes in and buys it, well, it's a bigger company. Maybe Cartoon Network wanted more money, but that's also kind of a rival for Disney in terms of networking, because, you have Disney XD and you have the Disney Channel, and you're showing your Disney products on Cartoon Network. Well, that's just kind of not how things would work. So it's more of a Disney kind of not being selfish, but just having its product on its own terms, on its own page. Why would you ever see Disney shows on Cartoon Network? Well, it would save a lot more money to put it on Disney than it would to put it on Cartoon Network. So that was kind of the first problem that they had here, is that, Cartoon Network is the home for the Clone Wars. Cartoon Network doesn't really have too much restriction on what it can show. I grew up with Billy and Mandy and Ed, Ed and Eddie and Samurai Jack and all that kind of stuff, and they were appropriate enough, but I could also see how they were somewhat inappropriate. And they also had Adult Swim at night, which is actually what I think the Clone Wars show comes on every now and then. But besides the fact, Cartoon Network just wouldn't be able to play that series anymore because Disney owned it. Therefore, Disney's not going to want to have their products on something that's not their own. We all know Disney. They're just kind of greedy like that, honestly. But that's how the business world works, and that's how they just did things. So that's kind of the first reason that we have here. Another reason they canceled the show is probably my biggest kind of reason that I don't like. This is the main reason I'm kind of with it, because it's the problem I've been having with Disney since they bought Star Wars. George Lucas would make a story, and no matter if he liked it or hated it, he would make it because that's his interpretation on the story. If it was good, then it was good. If it was bad, it was bad. A New Hope, that was pretty good, but he had different opinions on that to help him. But all the prequels where he had free reign, the story wasn't that great. And that's the problem that Disney has came with, of the prequels are simply not good and the originals are great. That's exactly how Disney has been looking at the Star Wars franchise lately, and for me it's very noticeable. It's my main problem. Like I said, the prequels happen. Get over it. You have to talk about them sometime. You have to do something with them. The only thing I've really seen them do with the prequels is the Darth Maul comics and then the Obi-Wan and Anakin comics. That's it. They haven't really touched on it too much, and that's probably the main reason they ended the show, is because they said they wanted to go into a new direction. Well, no, you just wanted to stay away from the prequels as much as possible. People loved the Clone Wars, and if anything, it made the prequels look a little better. It's like glossing a pile of poop. Yeah, it's still poop, but it's a better piece of poop now because it's got gloss on it. Does that make sense? No, but shit, that was our pile of poop, and we liked it. That's how we looked at. Well, all right, that's all right. That's at least how I looked at the Clone Wars. Is that it made the pile of poop of the prequels look a lot better than it already was, and it's just how it was. So they're trying their hardest to stay away from the prequels because they think it's so bad. And yeah, it's really not that great in my opinion, but it's not that bad that I can't ever talk about them. They had some good moments, had some good characters, which is proven in the Clone Wars series. So the fact that they're staying so far away from the originals, from the prequels, and going towards the originals, to the fact that they had to cancel shows about the prequels, is just pathetic and sad. I mean, ugh, it's just irking in my opinion. Yes, the originals are good. Yes, I'm an original fanboy, and yes, I love them, but I do not think everything about Star Wars has to be based off the originals. It is annoying at this point. Yes, I love the originals, but I don't need to be reminded about how great they are constantly with these rewrites and having a show based off the original trilogy and whatnot. I just don't like that at all. It doesn't have to be in the original era. I know enough about it. I want to learn more. I want to learn something about the prequels now because there's so much stuff that's not canon. I want to learn more about it now. So that's one of the biggest reason, if not the biggest reason, Disney did not continue the show is because that it's a prequel era kind of thing, and they are trying so hard to stay away from it because there's so many people who hate the prequels, and at this point, it's just annoying. And the final reason, kind of really, is the tone of the Clone Wars. Like I kind of said before, the Cartoon Network didn't really have a filter that was too big on what can be shown on their network. So in the Clone Wars, and like I said in the Clone Wars versus the Rebels, and why the Clone Wars is better, is that it showed a lot of death. You actually see the lightsaber going through a person's body, and you actually see the marking of it, the burn holes. Same with the bullets, well, not the bullets, the laser shots and whatnot. You saw little worms going in and out of people's noses, and the Dark Lord of the Sith just choking people to death. It became to have a really darker tone, and Disney did state that they kind of weren't trying to go that way anymore, and that they had a little bit of a disagreement with how things were being ran on that side of the things. So, as you can tell if you watch Rebels, it's a lot more kiddie. They're trying to hook the kids on this stuff, and that's fine, I guess. It's Disney. I mean, what do you expect? But even Marvel kind of has some kind of, things going on, a little more graphic, which I understand both sides of it. George Lucas did say Star Wars is meant for kids, but doesn't mean everyone can't like it. I mean, it's obviously not entirely for kids because you see Count Dooku's head getting chopped off. I mean, there's a lot of cool things about Star Wars that aren't meant for kids at all. Anakin being built as Darth Vader, him being burnt and everything. Kids shouldn't see that. That's kind of awkward to watch with your kid. You've seen a man burn alive. Anyways, so they were trying to go for a different tone. They didn't like the darkness anymore. Clone Wars did not start off as dark as it was, but as things went on, it got a lot darker. Honestly, I mean, oh my god, some of the stuff I was watching, I was like, wow, you guys are dark, but the stories were great. I miss the Clone Wars, I really do, and I kid you not, I watched it a day or two ago for this video. When Fives died in season 6, I believe, I cried. I cried again when I watched it. I wasn't like boohooing, but my eyes kind of watered because I really liked that character. And seeing his death was emotional, and that's the kind of things that Clone Wars did for me that Rebels hasn't done yet. But that's okay. Rebels have gotten a lot better in the past season of season 3. So, overall, Disney just canceled the Clone Wars because they disagreed a lot with what was happening. They didn't want to pay Cartoon Network more money, and they didn't want to deal with all that to show a product that's not on their network, and then they didn't want to, they didn't want to deal with the darkness and all that fun stuff, and they didn't want to go over the prequels again. It's stupid and simple stuff like that, but that have a major impact on big companies. The smallest things mean a lot in the business world, apparently. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me if you want the Clone Wars to come back, or tell me if you're content with Rebels. The same creator for Clone Wars is the one doing Rebels, Dave Filoni. Very nice guy, very good guy. I think his work's pretty decent. I haven't had too much complaints about the Clone Wars. The only thing I complained about Rebels is that there's a lot of fillers, and that's the only thing I don't really like about it. But he's gotten better in Season 3, I will say that. So, comment your thoughts below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me if you agree with Disney closing Clone Wars, and tell me if if this video filled you in on information you had no idea about. So, I'm Star Wars Only, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. May the Force be with you, always.